Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk with you guys about the merge drop by PAK. If you haven't been aware of what's been going on, I kind of wanted to walk you through some of the details, what I've kind of been experiencing, and where I think this project could go, because it's a really interesting mechanism. Before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, definitely recommend definitely recommend you subscribe to the channel and follow along. I'm trying to do more project analysis videos and kind of going into what the details are about these big drops that are happening. So today I want to talk all about PAK and his merge drop, or their merge drop. And if you're not familiar with who PAK is, I'm not really going to get into that. It's a long story, and there's a lot of good resources. I will link a video by Giancarlo Buys Tokens, who did a really good overview on PAK. I'll put that in the description below. So if you want to kind of get a more in-depth background, I think he does a pretty good breakdown. But the short story is that PAK is a very influential artist in the NFT space, has had partnerships with Sotheby's. He's behind kind of the Fungibles, the Lost Poets. So if you're familiar with any of those collections, and essentially a lot of times whatever he kind of makes turns into gold. So a lot of people were interested about the merge drop, and going into it a little bit. So I'll tell you guys what the drop initially was, and then there were some hiccups along the way, but essentially, this was a drop on Nifty Gateway, which is a platform where you can actually buy NFTs with ETH, or you can buy them with actually regular like dollars. And so it broadened it to a lot more people, because people didn't have to have wallets and MetaMask and all that. And essentially, what happened was there was an early access period where you could buy what was called a mass for $299, and then the public access, which was you could buy one for $400. And so you could actually buy as many as you wanted, but the idea was that no matter how many you bought, they would be all merged together, and so you would have just one NFT at the end of kind of the sale. And so for example, I bought two mass, and so I got an NFT called M2, which stands for Merge 2. And it was still just one NFT. So there was actually 29,000 NFTs minted, which means like 29,000 individual wallets. And they all kind of came into your Nifty Bus or Nifty Gateway wallet, and you could see them there. So that was pretty interesting. The big number was kind of $92 million is what the entire sale went for, which was like one of the highest sales in history, and I think it was more than Mutant when Bored Apes did the Mutant Ape drop, which I think was about 90 million. So this was a really big deal, and then it was going to be interesting to see, because the idea is that whenever so the way it kind of works is whenever you have a merge and whenever you acquire another one, the two merge together. So for example, I have an M2, or let's use this example, like if you have an M100 and then you buy an M20 off the market, or someone sends an M20 to your wallet, it becomes an M120, and this M20 gets burned and it goes away. So there's a deflationary mechanism already built in, and the idea is that as more things are bought up, there's going to be fewer NFTs in this collection, hence they'll probably be more valuable, and your NFT will actually update, so it'll become an M120. And there's a couple of other things, like classes and levels and things like that. I won't get into all of that, but essentially there's other ways of rarities, like certain colors are more rare. And the person, the group that there's actually a group that pooled their money together to get the merge with the highest number. I think it was like 12,000 something. And they have the alpha merge. So there's some more mechanisms like that, but the idea here is essentially like you'll get a merge token, and then every time you acquire a merge, yours will increase in number, and then the lower one will be burned. And so I thought that was really interesting, because if you think about it, there could be the end game here is like one person could have all the merge, and that would be essentially a one of one by PAK, and that's a really valuable piece of art. So it's curious, it's interesting how this will play out. But when all this happened, the initial mint happened, and everybody was sent their merge, and there was a bug in the contract, which basically only created more hype for the project. I feel like if any other project had a bug, it would be a huge disaster, but PAK's project has a bug, and it's a good thing. And so they essentially had to do an entire remint where everything had to be resent to you. And there was, some people got some sales out into the secondary with the bug contract, but they stopped that pretty quickly. And so now everything's been reminted. And so I thought it would be a good time to kind of take a look at what's going on. So this is the OpenSea of the collection, and so you can see that this only says 5.5K owners, and because this is because a lot of people still have their merge in Nifty Gateway, and you can actually do secondary sales on Nifty Gateway too. So it's kind of split between OpenSea and Nifty Gateway mainly. And if you look down here, you can see all these M1s are going for 0.2, 0.29, 0.3 essentially is the floor, and that's kind of been pretty steady throughout the day. But the interesting thing is there's been some big buys. So some people are kind of buying these M4s or a lot of M11s or M50s. So people are taking their bets, or this is an M246 for 21E. So people are kind of taking their bets. And hoping that this is gonna probably become a lot bigger than it is. And the idea here is this is the Etherscan, kind of all the tokens, and as you can see right now, this null address here is the burned address. So 303 merges tokens have been burned, and I've been kind of monitoring this. It's still going relatively slow because I think everybody that's buying in right now is still buying either from a new wallet or they're a first time buyer, and so this is going to keep going down over time, but this supply was much higher before, but right now there's 28,400 merge tokens. So that's going to kind of go down over time. And so that'll be kind of interesting to watch. And the other big thing to note is that PAK has also said that there is a utility with merge that's going to be dropping. So he has a token called Ash. And the idea with Ash is that you can actually burn any one of your PAK pieces to get Ash. And so this includes any of his previous drops. And Ash is traded on the market. And last time I checked, it was about $40 for an Ash, but it fluctuates. And so in 3 weeks time, or at least this was when the initial mint was done, it was going to be on Christmas. I don't know if he's still going to do it on Christmas, but essentially there was going to be a reveal of some Ash utility with merge, and you could probably burn it or do something with it to get some amount of Ash. So that's another way that this is going to be deflationary. And then the third way is what he's calling a scavenger hunt, and it's through a site called mass.black, and we don't really know much about what this is. This essentially just links to a tweet of his, and this links back to the Nifty Gateway collection. We don't really know what's going on here, but this is another thing that's potentially going to be a way to get a different NFT or some other utility. And so I'm pretty excited about this because I think this, first of all, is a PAK drops already is hype. Second of all, it's deflationary, so things are going to become more scarce and more rare, which is going to make this floor price probably go up. Third is you can get Ash utility from it, which is going to be another mechanism of deflationary, reducing the supply and getting some other utility out of it. And then fourth is this mass.black drop, which, to be honest, no one really knows what's going on with it. So I think it's a pretty interesting drop, and there's a lot of different ways that this can go. Not to mention that PAK could go in and alter, since a lot of these are dynamic NFTs, and they have these properties. You can go in and alter something to change a class or change a trait or something to make something wild happen. I don't know if he's actually going to do that, but that is always a possibility. And so, I think this is going to be I think it's going to be a longer game than I initially anticipated because the sales are kind of slow. But I think the reason that this is still good is because there's these built-in things that are going to hype it up. So that's kind of the overview of what's going on with merge, where it kind of came from, what is going to happen potentially, and what other things you should be paying attention for. The last thing I wanted to share is this site that someone made called mass.show. And so this is kind of, the way I've been tracking how things are burned is just looking at the Etherscan and refreshing. But someone made this. I don't exactly know how it works, but you can kind of see how things merge over time. I think they're going to, you can add the dates here, and it's kind of an interesting way to visualize. So you can even look up your own token ID and kind of see what's going on with it and how many times it's merged. If you click on one, it'll tell you some information about it. And I think they're going to kind of build upon this and give you some more details. But I thought this was a cool visualization, and it really shows how big the project is and how many different players are involved. And as I mentioned, the things in the middle, these are kind of the rare ones. But for example, something that happened today, which was kind of interesting, was there was a blue M1 and someone sent it just a normal M3. And because they did that, the M3 was bigger than the M1. And so it the blue M1 got burned, and the M3 survived and became an M4. And so essentially that person that had a really rare blue one doesn't have it anymore. They just have an M4. So this is kind of interesting. And, if you want to kind of game it, there's different strategies. And so it'll be kind of interesting to see what people do. But I thought this was a pretty cool visualization. A lot of people have been asking me about the PAK Discord. I am in the Discord, but he actually doesn't open it that often. I got in after having post notifications on for him a while ago. But there is a merge chat in there, and I feel like that's where a lot of people are asking a lot of questions, and I kind of keep tabs on that. So I'll try to tweet out updates about that. If you're not following me on Twitter, I'll link it down below. But that's kind of a quick overview of merge. If you have any more questions or comments, or if you want to know something specific, let me know in the comments below. Hopefully this video was helpful. I'm going to hope to do probably a merge update and probably more project updates as well. So if you're interested in those kinds of things, definitely subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.